Hello and welcome to Macy Cooks. Today I'm going to teach you how to make something that's going to become one of your family's favorites. I just know it, I'm putting it on the record now, you're going to love it. If you watched my previous video, then you know we just recently made a smoked pork butt. And that's kind of how this recipe came along. We were making a lot of smoked pork butts, trying to really hone in on the perfect recipe, and so we had a lot of leftovers. And with those leftovers, I wanted something a little different. I didn't want to be eating pork sandwiches every day. So I came up with the recipe that I'm going to teach you today. I'm going to show you how to make green chili sour cream smoked pork enchiladas. Now before we get started, let me tell you what you're going to need. You're going to need one skillet for your sauce that you're making, another for heating up corn tortillas, a high-sided bowl that you can put the smoked pork butt into so you can nuke it, and then lastly a 9 by 13 inch baking dish. This recipe is super easy and it absolutely falls under that 30-minute meal category, so without further ado, let's get started. All right, I got a skillet on the stovetop at medium-high heat. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter and get that melting. While you're at it, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Okay, once your butter is melted and just starting to kind of bubble and pop, you're gonna add in 1 small white onion, your spice blend, which consists of 1 tablespoon of smoked pap, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, and 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. Give that a good stir and let those onions start to soften. We're not looking for full caramelization by any means. Once those have gone for about 5 minutes and softened up nicely, we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of flour. This is gonna work as the binder and thickener for our sauce. Once all that flour has been absorbed and it looks dry and a little bit craggly, you're gonna add 2 cups of chicken stock. And you're gonna wanna go ahead and add your green chilies. Now I'm using mild green chilies. You can definitely do hot if you prefer, but my kiddos don't like super hot food, so we're going with mild. As you can see, we're starting to get some good richness, some thickness, a little bit of a velvety texture coming together in the skillet. It's binding and turning into a sauce. We're gonna let this cook for about 2 more minutes at medium high, and then we're gonna drop that heat down significantly to low and add the sour cream. To this sauce, I'm now going to add approximately a 1/2 cup of sour cream. Give that sauce a good stir, and once you see that all the sour cream has melted into the sauce and been fully incorporated, give it a taste. You can absolutely add more sour cream if that's what you fancy. Either way, this sauce is now going to reduce on low and get nice and thick while we do the next 3 steps. The constant struggle of trying to figure out where the heck the cheese grater is. I feel like the cheese grater is one of those objects in your house that just floats around and moves and is in flux constantly. It was in the cabinet. I tried to find it, I just couldn't. While we've got the sauce thickening, I'm going to grate up the cheese that's gonna go on the top of the enchiladas. I like to go with a Monterey Jack. You could certainly use really any cheese you want. I wouldn't recommend like an ultra sharp cheddar. I feel like that would take away from the flavor of the sour cream sauce. I'd stick with something a little more neutral. We're shooting for about a 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup if you're feeling really cheesy. Okay, so I have just a little bit of sour cream that is still yet to incorporate. So I'm gonna give it a second on low and just continue stirring until all that sour cream is mixed in. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting some of the corn tortillas warmed up. I think it's helpful to have a skillet on the back burner on medium-low with a stick of butter readily available for dibbling, you know? And then you get to do the 2-handed method. You don't have to make it this complicated. This is just, again, gamifying cooking for myself. This recipe usually makes about a dozen enchiladas. You can obviously stretch it out if you put a little less meat in each tortilla, but I kind of like mine to be on the thick side, you know what I mean? So get a good coating of butter on 3 tortillas at a time, or just however many your skillet holds. And then we're not looking to like cook them or fry them or make them crispy at all. In fact, you really don't want that. We just want them to be softened, you know, just like a little tender so that when you roll them, they're not gonna split into pieces on you. I'm gonna grab myself a plate because what I find really helpful is as these tortillas come off, You can transfer them to a plate and then put another plate on top to keep them hot and moist and pliable. That sauce is almost there. Let's taste for seasoning and see if we're gonna need any salt and pepper. Oh, no. Just a kiss of salt, no pepper needed. Adding just a couple kisses of salt here. Stirring to combine. As you can see, oh my gosh, that color is so luxurious. I just feel like it's very decadent looking. Our first batch of tortillas are almost there. Just gonna flip them. You should absolutely use tongs and not your fingers, but I have this thing about, I guess, trying to sear my fingertips off. All right, our sauce is almost there. And it is time to get the next batch, click clack, of tortillas into the skillet. Okay, so here's the deal. The sauce is ready. All the sour cream's mixed in. We've added our extra kiss of salt, but there's one thing, the secret ingredient that this sauce is missing. And you're not gonna judge too hard, okay? You're just gonna go with it, and trust me, it's a teaspoon of white sugar. Look, I know people are touchy about sugar. I know it's not great, but some things just need a little bit. That sweetness is gonna bring out the salty in it, the sour, the savory, all those dry spices we put in. You need the sugar, so don't complain. Just put the sugar in, trust me. Sauce is ready. I'm gonna remove it from the heat and move it over here to our prep table. And from there, what I need you to do is take about 3/4 of a cup of your sauce that you made and mix it into your smoked pork. Lastly, you're gonna add about 1/4 cup of your cheese that you grated to that. Stir it up, put it in the microwave, and nuke it for like 1 minute. We just want it to all be melted together. Finishing up our last 3 tortillas now. The sauce is already ready and our filling's done too. I told y'all this is a super quick recipe. Now that you've got it all combined, move it over to your prep station and get ready for the most fun part, the rolling. We've got our rolling station all prepared. We've got our dish that we're going to be lining them up in, our filling, our tortillas, the cheese to top it, and our sauce. But I do have one more tip that is totally necessary. You wanna make sure that you put about 2 or 3 ladles full of your sauce in the bottom of your baking dish. If you don't do that and you line up all your tortillas dry and then top them with the sauce, the bottom of those tortillas are gonna dry out in the oven. And then when you serve them up on the plate, you're gonna have to chisel through them with like an actual chisel set to get through that dried corn tortilla bottom. So if you want a super luscious, soft, breakable to the side of a fork tortilla, then you need to sauce your pan. The best way to do this is to take about a heaping tablespoon, just under 2 tablespoons, put it in the center of the corn tortilla and then roll it up. It doesn't need to be super tight. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. You're just looking for somewhat neat. Make sure all the meat is inside. If anything falls out, just tuck it in. And then just place it in a nice little even row down the middle of your baking sheet. Here's the deal. There are a few things in the world more satisfying than making the exact right amount of filling to the exact right amount of tortillas. It works out perfect like that. It always reminds me of Father of the Bride. You know, when Steve Martin, George Banks has this freak out in the grocery market about like the fact that the hot dog buns and the weenies don't add up. He doesn't need the extra buns. He needs 8, you know, efficiency. Why are we not just making 8 hot dog buns, 8 weenies? You know, it's a good scene. Once we have them all in the dish, you're gonna take your sauce and just stream it across the top here. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna smear it around anyways. But you should have enough sauce left over to effectively cover all of the enchiladas. Similarly to the bottoms, if you don't have sauce in the pan, if you don't effectively cover all of the enchiladas, they'll dry out. So you wanna make sure that you have enough sauce to cover all of them. Lastly, take a nice helping of cheese and sprinkle it across the top. Transfer them into a 350-degree oven covered for approximately 20 to 25 minutes. Remove them, take the foil off, and then turn on the broiler and broil until the cheese is nice and golden. They are out of the oven and they are gorgeous. They baked at 350 for 25 minutes, covered, and then I uncovered them and broiled them for like less than a minute, just enough to get some bubbling on the cheese. Let's get them plated up and give them a try. I can't even with these. Look at them. They're perfect. I topped mine with a little bit of fresh cilantro, or if you're the automated lady at Albertsons, cilantro. It's terrible. I swear if any of y'all work for Albertsons, get you, girl. It sounds bad. Look at that. The nice melty cheese, the smoked pork butt, sour cream sauce. Saltiness of the smoked pork butt, the sweetness you get off of that bark once you've chopped it all up and mixed it in with the tangy, succulent sour cream sauce, it's perfect. Truly one of my favorite recipes that I make. You have got to give these a try. I'm gonna post a link to the smoked pork butt video in case you haven't seen that one yet. And if you have, then definitely drop a comment below and let me know what you think. I loved cooking with y'all today. I hope you give these a shot, and I hope you love them as much as I do. Get baking, y'all.